What if I told you there's one simple habit that can literally rewire your brain in just 30 days? A habit so powerful that neuroscientists are calling it the master key to personal transformation. Here's the crazy part. It takes less than 5 minutes a day, costs absolutely nothing, and yet 99% of people never do it. I discovered this habit after hitting rock bottom 3 years ago. I was stuck in the same patterns, making the same mistakes, feeling like I was living the same day over and over again. But then I stumbled across this research from Stanford University that changed everything. Today, I'm going to share exactly what this habit is, the mind-blowing science behind why it works, and give you a foolproof 30-day plan to implement it starting today. But here's the thing. You need to stick around until the end because I'm going to reveal the one mistake that sabotages this habit for most people. So if you're ready to stop being a passenger in your own life and finally take control, let's dive in. The habit that can change your life in 30 days is what I call evening reflection journaling, but it's not what you think. This isn't your typical Dear Diary, today I ate a sandwich journaling. This is a scientifically designed 3-question reflection system that literally rebuilds your brain's decision-making pathways. Here's what makes this so powerful. Every day, you're going to ask yourself 3 specific questions and write down your answers. These questions are based on cognitive behavioral therapy research and something called metacognition, which is basically thinking about your thinking. The 3 questions are: 1. What pattern did I notice in my behavior today? 2. What triggered that pattern? 3. What would I do differently if I faced the same situation again? That's it. Simple, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Dr. Matthew Lieberman from UCLA discovered that when we put our experiences into words, especially our emotions and behaviors, it literally changes our brain structure. This process, called affect labeling, reduces activity in the emotional center of your brain and increases activity in the logical decision-making parts. Think of your brain like a city. Most people live their lives on autopilot, taking the same mental highways every day. But when you do evening reflection journaling, you're literally building new roads. You're creating neural pathways that connect your automatic behaviors to conscious awareness. And here's the kicker. Neuroscience shows it only takes about 30 days of consistent practice to start seeing permanent changes in your brain's wiring. Before I show you exactly how to do this, smash that like button if you're ready to build some new mental highways. And if you want more science-backed strategies like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds too simple to work, but the research is absolutely mind-blowing. A study published in the Journal of Research and Personality followed 1,000 people for 6 months. Those who practiced structured self-reflection for just 5 minutes a day showed significant improvements in emotional regulation, decision-making, and goal achievement compared to the control group. But here's what really convinced me. Researchers at Harvard Medical School used brain imaging to study people before and after 30 days of reflective journaling. They found actual physical changes in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-control and planning. Dr. Dan Siegel, a clinical professor of psychiatry, calls this process name it to tame it. When you put words to your patterns and behaviors, you're literally taming the automatic parts of your brain and giving more power to the conscious choice-making parts. There's also fascinating research from the University of Rochester that shows people who engage in daily self-reflection are 23% more likely to achieve their goals within a year. Why? Because reflection creates what psychologists call implementation intentions. Basically, your brain starts automatically planning better responses to future situations. Think about it like this. Imagine you're a detective investigating your own life. Every day you're gathering evidence about your patterns, your triggers, and your responses. After 30 days, you don't just understand yourself better, you've literally trained your brain to make better decisions automatically. The science is clear. Structured self-reflection doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you perform better in every area of life. All right, let's get into the exact 30-day plan. I'm going to break this down week by week so it's super easy to follow. Week 1, foundation building. Days 1 through 7, you're going to focus on just noticing patterns. Every evening, spend 5 minutes writing answers to our 3 questions. What pattern did I notice in my behavior today? What triggered that pattern? What would I do differently if I faced the same situation again? The key here is no judgment. You're not trying to fix anything yet. You're just becoming a detective of your own behavior. Maybe you notice you check your phone every time you feel bored. Maybe you realize you eat junk food when you're stressed. Just observe and write it down. Pro tip: set a phone alarm for the same time every evening. Consistency is everything. Week 2, pattern recognition. Days 8 through 14, you're going to start seeing themes. This is where it gets exciting. You might notice that most of your patterns are triggered by the same few things: stress, boredom, fear, or certain people. During this week, start categorizing your patterns. Are they emotional patterns, productivity patterns, relationship patterns? Start seeing the bigger picture of how your mind works. Week 3, solution building. Days 15 through 21, this is where the magic happens. You've identified your patterns, now you're going to start building better responses. When you answer question 3, what would I do differently, start getting really specific. Instead of, I wouldn't eat junk food, write, next time I feel stressed, I'll do 10 deep breaths and drink a glass of water before making food choices. Your brain loves specific instructions. The more detailed your alternative responses, the more likely you are to actually use them. Week 4, integration and optimization. Days 22 through 30, you're going to refine and optimize. Look back at your previous weeks and identify which alternative responses worked best. Start focusing on the most effective strategies and let go of the ones that didn't stick. This is also when you'll start noticing that better responses are happening automatically without you even thinking about them. That's your new neural pathways taking over. Now, here's the secret ingredient that makes this whole system work. You need to review your previous entries once a week. Every Sunday, read through your week's reflections. This reinforces the learning and helps your brain connect dots it might have missed. Comment below and let me know. What's one pattern you've already noticed in your own behavior? I read every comment and I love hearing about your insights. Now, I promised I'd tell you the one mistake that sabotages this habit for most people. Here it is. They try to change everything at once. Listen, your brain is not your enemy, but it doesn't like sudden changes. If you try to fix every pattern you notice, you'll overwhelm your mental resources and quit within a week. Instead, focus on one pattern at a time. Pick the one that shows up most often or has the biggest impact on your life. Master that one before moving to the next. Here are the other big mistakes I see. Mistake number 2, judging yourself. Remember, you're a detective, not a judge. When you notice a pattern, your job is to understand it, not beat yourself up about it. Self-compassion actually speeds up the change process. Mistake number 3, being too vague. I was stressed is not helpful. I felt overwhelmed when my boss asked for that report because I was already behind on 3 other projects. Now that's useful information your brain can work with. Mistake number 4, skipping days. Look, I get it, life happens. But if you skip more than 2 days in a row, you're basically starting over. Your brain needs consistency to build those new neural pathways. Mistake number 5, not celebrating wins. When you catch yourself using a better response in real time, celebrate it. Seriously, do a little happy dance. Your brain learns faster when success feels good. If you're struggling with consistency, try what I call the bare minimum rule. On days when you don't have time for full reflection, just write one sentence about one pattern you noticed. Something is always better than nothing. Once you've mastered the basic system, here are some advanced strategies to supercharge your results. Strategy 1, the pattern map. After 30 days, create a visual map of your most common patterns and triggers. Draw connections between them. You'll be amazed at how interconnected your behaviors are. Strategy 2, the future self technique. When answering question 3, imagine you're giving advice to your future self who will face the same situation. Research shows we give better advice to others than to ourselves, so this little mental trick can unlock better solutions. Strategy 3, the emotion behavior bridge. Start paying attention to the emotion that happens right before each pattern. There's usually a feeling, frustration, excitement, anxiety that acts as a bridge between your trigger and your behavior. When you can name that emotion, you can interrupt the pattern right at the bridge. Strategy 4, the environmental audit. Once a week, ask yourself, what in my environment is making my good patterns easier or harder? Maybe you need to move your workout clothes next to your bed. Maybe you need to put your phone in another room while you work. Small environmental changes can have massive impacts. Here's something cool. After about 60 days of consistent reflection journaling, many people report something I call the observer effect. You start catching yourself in old patterns in real time and automatically choosing better responses. It's like having a wise advisor in your head. The reason this works so well is that you're not just changing behaviors. You're changing your relationship with your own mind. You become curious about your patterns instead of frustrated by them. Look, I could give you 100 different habits that might change your life, but this one is special because it makes every other positive change easier. When you understand your own patterns, when you can catch them in real time, when you've trained your brain to automatically choose better responses, that's when you stop being a victim of your own habits and start being the architect of your life. So here's your challenge. Commit to the next 30 days. Get a notebook, set that evening alarm, and start asking yourself those 3 questions tonight. And here's what I want you to do right now. Comment below with just one word that describes how you want to feel in 30 days. Maybe it's confident, peaceful, focused, or free. Write that word down. That's your North Star. If this video helped you, smash that like button. It tells YouTube to show this to more people who need it. And if you want more science-backed strategies for leveling up your life, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Remember, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Your future self is going to thank you for starting today. I'll see you in the next video, and I can't wait to hear about your transformation in the comments.